Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. Today we're going to talk about the LVMH third quarter of 2023 reports. Yes, honey, the numbers are in. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago or maybe days ago, depending when you're watching this video, we did talk about the issue with Louis Vuitton in particular, LVMH, but also all other luxury brands, how their sales are slowing down. That extreme pandemic and right after the post-pandemic period when most of luxury brands experienced a humongous increase in earnings, people were buying like there was no tomorrow. That started slowing down, and now we're at a point where as these luxury brands start showing their earning reports, especially we're talking about the brands that are on the ones that have shares and shareholders and stockholders involved, those are the brands that are reporting their earnings, meaning privately owned companies don't really have to do that, don't do that, or pay an extra fine in order not to do that. Chanel being private doesn't do that, for example. Vivienne Westwood also doesn't really do that. But LVMH, you got stocks from LVMH, they got to report to you on a quarter basis how much have they earned, profits, losses, all that good stuff. Now listen, we got news from Yahoo Finance and many other financial and fashion finance reporters have been talking about this because the news dropped today. Luxury goods giant, as the article states, LVMH's shares fall on slower sales growth. Update. Let's get to all the details together. First, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Push the join button next to the subscription button. Become a member today. Gain access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon. superdacob, all spelled together there as well for extra perks. Thank you to our members and patrons who have already pledged. This video is being filmed live in front of a live virtual audience. I live stream several times a week, so come join. Come join. Hello to my co-chatters on the sidebar. Yes, Wacky Cookies. Bernard Arnault. We got issues with the dinero, darling. Daddy moneybags. Everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's alleged and just my opinion. So, here's the tea, my dears. You know, we've been speculating about this. Are these luxury brands in a little bit of trouble financially? Appears like they might just be in that trouble. Yes. Allegedly. So, LVMH shares fell this morning, meaning either the 10th or the 11th of October, 2023, after investors reacted to the Paris-listed luxury goods powerhouse recording slower sales. Haha! The company, listen, the company... LVMH, which is behind drinks and fashion. You know, LVMH owns many companies. They also own Celine. They said in an update after the market closed that organic revenue growth in the third quarter was 9%, which was down 17. That's 17. It was down by 17% in the prior 3 months. We're not talking a delicate fall. We're talking precipitation, honey. We be precipitated. We be precipitating, honey. And it added that group revenue for the first 9 months of the year was 62.2 billion euro, which equals 53.7 billion British pounds, darling. Up from 56.5 billion. So they did earn more than last time that they were telling us how much they earned, I guess, in the last year. However, what they thought that they were going to earn went drastically down. They had to readjust their numbers. They had to readjust their prognosis, so to speak. Now, shares in the firm lost 7.23%. The firm recorded growth in all business divisions during the 9 months, excluding wine and spirits, with Hennessy Cognac impacted in the US by economic environment. Americans are guzzling less. Maybe this has to do also with the fact that many states in America have very strict policies and laws on when you can buy liquor, after what time you're allowed to buy, in which shops have the permit to sell alcohol, and then, after like 10 p.m. or something, depending which state you're in, you might have issues. They might not be selling it to you at all. So there's that contributes, I think, on the American market, because in Europe, honey, in Europe, let me tell you something, Linda. I have seen stuff, okay? Very Blade Runner, IYKYK. I have seen things, okay? But in America, it's a little bit more strict. Now, the finance chief, Jean-Jacques Guinoy, or Guinea, the guinea pig, also pointed to the performance having a tough comparison when looking at the post-pandemic boom. He said, and we quote, "Growth is converging after 3 roaring and outstanding years towards numbers that are more in line with the historical average." Now, do you guys remember a couple of videos ago, I was talking about the terminology, the PR and marketing terminology that these brands use to define certain things that are negative for the consumer, but they want to make them sound like it's a positive thing. Like, for example, Chanel talking about price increases, using lingo such as price harmonization, harmonizing something as if it were good for you that they're upping their prices. So this is an interesting point here, because the key word PR-wise for the shareholders here, to kind of keep the shareholders happy, even though they haven't earned as much as the prior 3 years, the key word here is historical average. Because what Mr. Guinea Pig is telling us, he's not a guinea pig, but his name is Guinea. What am I supposed to do? I gotta drop a cheap joke. I'm sorry, Mr. Guinea. But anyway, call me Kreskin. So he says, growth is converging after 3 roaring and outstanding years towards numbers that are more in line with the historical average. So he's trying to tell us and the shareholders, hey, you guys, listen, this is okay, because now we're going back to the historical, beautiful growth of LVMH that was the pre-pandemic era. We had steady and sturdy growth across the boards. And then we had this amazing jump during the years of the pandemic, but now we're back to that amazing historical growth again. So yes, we are earning way less in comparison to the past 3 years, but we are completely in line with our historical growth. So everything would go. He's like, yay. But could you imagine being an investor and your stock just dropped in value 17%? You know what I mean? You'll be like, yeah, honey, I don't really care about the historic growth. I care about now. Like the historic growth, that's history, honey. That's history, honey. That's yesterday. That means nothing for my money. My money is in the now, and I want to see it grow now. So your nice words about historical growth don't mean diddly squat. You know what I mean? I would see some investors and shareholders thinking that way. Interesting also to note that a couple of weeks ago, do you guys remember the news that stocks, the LVMH stocks, were kind of plummeting as they were all gearing up towards this news of the latest earnings? They were just not happy with them. So apparently people started selling the stock. Well, allegedly, guess who started buying all the stock once the prices of the LVMH stock allegedly kind of dropped? Any guesses in the comment section down below? I give you 5 seconds and then I'll tell you who started buying up all the stock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, it was Mr. Bernard Arnault himself. He's like, okay. Interesting to note that he started buying the stock once the price of the stock started falling down. He wanted to gain even more control over his company. Also, I think investing all the billions that he already has in order to save the price range of his company. Could you imagine just buying back all your own stock? You usually do something like this. 1, to prove to the shareholders, I believe in my company. I believe in my company. You don't want the stock? I'll buy it. at a cheaper price. I'll buy it, and you best believe tomorrow it's going to cost triple. So it's also a way to scare people off from selling their stock, but it is also a way to gain more control over your own company. The more stock you have, the bigger the shareholder you are. He already has the biggest stakes in his shares, but now he has even more. And this is also a way to kind of prevent a crash on the stock market when it comes to your company in particular. Very, very, very interesting what he did there. And now all of this happened right before their third quarter earnings report. So he bought the stock there, I believe, as a kind of a cushion to cushion off more drama for LVMH. Then the news hits that they have been earning less as per reported by their third quarter earnings report. Now, what's going to happen in the following days? Are people going to sell even more of their LVMH stocks? Is the price of the LVMH stock going to fall further down? Should we, the people, jump in and start buying LVMH stocks? Honey, listen. Mr. Bernard Arnault, I have the feeling that everything is becoming a little bit tinier for you. Maybe your billions are going to not be so many billions, so you're going to have a smaller bank account. Might I suggest, Mr. Bernard Arnault, a tiny keep-all to put your money in it and take it to the bank from now on? Because you'll be earning a little bit less, but that's okay. We'll go. Why don't we take the little tiny Munchkin, Tallulah, Micro Speedy, and I think this is better now for the current historical growth expectations and revenue. I think this would be the proper bag for that. But also, I've been thinking, Pharrell Williams at Louis Vuitton, how is that going to be impacting their stock sales and their shares? Will the first collection that Pharrell Williams designed for Louis Vuitton, that's going to hit in a couple of months, is it going to sell? Was it a good bet that they bet on in terms of hiring Pharrell and getting him to do all the job, to do the artistic directorship of the male collection for Louis Vuitton? Is that going to impact sales as well? Is that going to impact the value of their stock and shares? That's definitely something that I'll be watching very, very closely as that collection hits stores and as that season passes, to see how much sale and revenue they manage to garner, because those prices are not cheap. Let me tell you something, Linda. So, little tiny bag as a tip for you, Mr. Bernard. Wacky Cookie says, I wonder if Pharrell's compensation is partially stock. That could be, but this is why I'm saying maybe it's about time that we, the people, instead of buying their products, their bags and baglets, how about we, the people, wake the F up and start buying their stock instead of their bags, just for a season or two, and see how well that will do for us when we start getting money from LVMH instead of giving it to LVMH. Food for thought. Let me know your thoughts and prayers in the comment section down below. Thumb up this video, subscribe, and until next time, never forget to never ever give up on love. Bye, loves. Bye. Ciao.